right, here we go. Okay, let me get this stuff out of the way here. All right, so it's in the genes, it says. Question is, can you bend your thumb backwards like the person in the picture? Some people can, some people can't. Some people, their thumb is straight. I personally, my thumb goes backwards like in the picture. All right. And now it says, what about your tongue? If you can roll your tongue into a U shape, you probably have a special gene that enables you to do this. If you don't know what that looks like, I can do it, but I'm not going to show you with my tongue. That's what it looks like. You can roll your tongue up in a U shape like that. Okay, some people can, some people can't. So this isn't true that it's exactly half the U.S. population that can do this, but let's say that we're assuming that half the U.S. population can bend their thumbs backwards and half can roll their thumb. All right, and we're assuming also that these genes are independent. In other words, if you can bend your thumb backwards, it doesn't affect whether or not you can roll your tongue up. And if you can roll your tongue up, it doesn't affect whether or not you can bend your tongue backwards. All right. Do people understand the concept so far, or am I losing people already? We're doing okay? So just to make sure, we're assuming half the people can do this with their thumb and half the people can do that with their tongue. Okay? That's the assumption that we're making here. All right? So go ahead. Oh, I thought somebody was trying to speak. All right, so if that's the assumption, we can make what's called an area model. We make a little rectangle, or in this case, a square, bending the thumb. Yes or no? Half the people are yes, half the people are no. Can you roll your tongue? Half the people are yes, half the people are no. Before I show you guys how to answer this, let me ask you, what do you think? What do you think? How many of the people do you think can do both? Roll their tongue and bend their thumb back. If half of all people can bend their thumb and half of all people can roll their tongue, how many people do you think can do both? Half, more than half, less than half? What do you think?
Half. Repeat that again?
Yeah. So if half of all people can bend their thumb and half of all people can roll their tongue, how many people do you think can do both? I heard one person say half. Anybody?
Actually, yeah, half.
Half, all right.
One measure.
Yeah, what are you thinking, Dio?
One people.
Just one person? So what do you think, Dio? Half of people or less than half or more than half?
Less than half.
Yeah, less than half. So let's think of it this way. Let's say there's 20 people in society, right? Half of them can bend their thumb. So how many people is that? If there's 20 people, let's say we've got a society, there's only 20 people that live in the world, all right? And half of them can bend their thumb. How many people can bend their thumb?
10.
10, right? And now half of all people can roll their tongue. So half of those 10 people can also roll their tongue. So how many people is that?
10.
Okay, so 10 people can bend their thumb, and half of those people can roll their tongue. So how many people is that?
Ten. Right?
All right, so
Actually, five.
yeah, 5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah. So let's think of it this way, right? Forget about the halves here. Let's say we have 20 people, right? This is not really how we're supposed to fill out the table, but let's say there's 20 people in society. Half of them can bend their thumb, right? So there's 10 people are yes and 10 people are no, right? But out of these 10 people, right? Out of these 10 people, half of them can roll their tongue and half of them can't. So there should be 5 people here that can and 5 people here that can't, 5 people here that can and 5 people here that can't. Right? So there should be, let me erase this for a minute. So there should be 5 people that can do both. There should be 5 people that can roll their tongue and can't bend their thumb. There should be 5 people that can't roll their tongue but can bend their thumb, and there should be 5 people that can't do either thing. But if you look, how many people can roll their tongue? 10 people, half of all people. How many people can't roll their tongue? 10 people. How many people can bend their thumb? 10 people. How many people can't bend their thumb? 10 people, half of all people. Is this making sense? Or am I losing you? Be honest. Is anybody feeling lost right now? All right, I'm not getting a lot of feedback here. So here's how we do this. In probability, if we want 2 things to happen, right? If we want to know the probability that you can bend your thumb and can roll your tongue, or we want the probability that you cannot bend your thumb and can roll your tongue, we multiply probabilities. All right? So half of all people can bend their thumb, half of all people can roll their tongue. So how many people can do both? Half of a half. So in other words, to go in here, it's going to be 1/2 times 1/2, which is 1/4 of all people. So in here, 1/4 of all people can bend their thumb and can roll their tongue. All right. How many people cannot bend their thumb but can roll their tongue? It's going to be 1/2 times 1/2. Or again, 1/4 of all people that can roll their tongue but cannot bend their thumb. All right. How many people? What's the probability that somebody cannot roll their tongue but can bend their thumb? It's going to be 1/2 of 1/2, or 1/2 times 1/2. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. All right, so 1/4. And then same thing over here. This is also going to be 1/4 because I'm multiplying these probabilities. Half of all people cannot bend their thumb. Half of all people cannot roll their tongue. So how many people cannot bend their thumb and cannot roll their tongue? 1/2 of 1/2, 1/4. Are we feeling okay about this or not sure? right. So according to this table, what is the probability that a randomly selected person from the U.S. has both special traits? What is the chance that he or she can roll their tongue and bend their thumb back? Well, it's 1/4. All right. How about this one? Magina, I want you to think about this. Look at this table. How many people, or what's the probability that the person can do one thing? Can only do one. They can roll their tongue, or they can bend their thumb, but not both. Or let me ask you in this way. I didn't even let you answer yet, but let me ask you in this way. Out of these 4 categories, how many of them can only do one thing? One of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, or all 4 of them? How many can just do one thing, but not both? Are you there, Magina? It says you're here. Are you not sure, or what's going on? All right, Anastasia, can you help her out? How many of those 4 categories represent people who can just do one thing, but not both?
Repeat that question one more time.
Yeah. See, there's 4 categories here, right?
Yeah.
How many of those 4 categories represent people who can just do one of the 2 things? They can't do both, but they can do one.
Shh. Oh shoot. I think bend thumb.
Okay, I think maybe I'm not doing a good job of explaining the question.
Wait, repeat the question again.
Yeah. So let me ask you like this: these people in here, how many things can they do? None, one, or both things?
Both things.
Both things. So these people can do
Both
2
things.
things. How about these people? Can they
One
do
thing.
one thing, right?
One thing.
Good.
Yeah.
How about these people?
None.
None.
No.
How about these people?
One thing.
Yes.
One thing,
One
okay?
thing.
So how many people can do
1/4.
yeah, just one? Well, it's these people and these people, right?
So it's
Yeah.
So it's 1/4
Plus one.
plus
1/4
1/4.
equals 2/4.
Good, 2/4 or 1/2,
1/2.
right?
That makes sense.
Good.
I did not understand the question.
That's
Are
okay.
you recording that?
It's more than okay. So Magina, are you with me now?
Yes.
You understand now?
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, so yeah, 1/4 plus 1/4, those are the people that can just do one of those things. All right? We're jumping right into the middle of some heavy probability today, but the homework
Wait,
we're going
mister.
Yeah,
Are you recording that?
I am recording this, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, now let's move it down. Okay. This table is useful because every cell in the table is equally likely, right? 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. So each possible outcome, such as you can bend your thumb but not roll your tongue, has a 1/4 probability. But this table is assuming that half the population can bend their thumbs backwards, but really, it's only about 1/4. and 3/4 cannot. All right, and we said we're assuming that half of all people can roll their tongue and half of them can't, but it turns out that 7/10 of people, most people can roll their tongues. All right, so how can this table be adjusted to represent these percentages? Let's not answer it in words. Let's actually go down here and do it. Okay, so let's come down here. All right, so we said in reality 1/4 of all people can bend their thumb and 3/4 can't. So what we did is we made this look longer because 3/4 is bigger than 1/4, and we made that look smaller. All right, and we're going to do the same thing with tongues. We're going to change this to show that 7/10 of people in the U.S. can roll their tongues. So this is the longer, so I made a longer section and a shorter section. This is going to be 7/10, and how much is this going to be? Olivier, if 7 out of 10 people can roll their tongue, how many people can't?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, if 7 out of every 10 people can roll their tongue, how many people cannot?
3.
That's right, 3 out of 10. So 7 out of 10 are a yes, 3 out of 10 are no. Are we okay with this idea, guys?
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, so we can make a longer section to show 7/10 and a shorter section to show 3/10. Basically is what they want us to say here. Now, here's the important part. How do we fill out these numbers? How do we figure out how many people can bend their thumb and roll their tongue? Well, we're going to do what we did in the other one. We're going to multiply the two probabilities. To get this number here, we're going to multiply 1/4 times 7/10. 1/4 times 7/10. And what's that going to give me? What do I get on top? Yeah, so I do 1 times 7 on top, and I do 4 times 10 on the bottom. So 7 out of every 40 people, 7/40 of people should be able to do both, bend their thumb and roll their tongue. How do we feel about that?
That's good.
Okay. All right. Let's figure out this one. How many people, or what's the probability somebody cannot bend their thumb, but they can roll their tongue? Well, I'm going to do 3/4 times 7/10. And what am I going to get? Kayla, what am I going to get? What's on top and what's on the bottom?
$21
Beautiful.
over 40.
Beautiful. 21 over 40. So 21 out of 40 people should be able to roll their thumb but not bend their thumb. Roll their tongue but not bend their thumb. And now, Dio, what am I going to multiply? What two fractions am I going to multiply to get this number?
The fractions that are on the side machine.
Yeah. So what fractions?
7 thing and 3 thing.
Okay, close. But so I'm in this section. Yes. So that's 1/4, and I'm in this row. That's 3/10.
Oh, okay.
Do you see that? So I want the 1/4 times the 3/10. All right, and that's going to give me 3/40, right? So let me put this in here. All right, and Dio, let me give you another chance, see if you're understanding this a little better. What two fractions should I be looking at for this number in here, Dio?
3 and 4 and 3 and 10.
Beautiful, now you have it, nice job. So right, I want 3/4 times 3/10. That's going to be 9/40. Beautiful, yep. And if we add up all the top numbers, 7 plus 21 plus 3 plus 9, that should add up to 40 out of 40. Okay? 7 plus 21 is 28, plus 3 is 31, plus 9 is 40. So that covers everybody. All right? So now we have an idea of, so now we know what's the probability somebody cannot do either thing? 9 out of 40. 9 out of 40 people can't do either thing. How many people can only roll their tongue? A little more than half of people can roll their tongue but not bend their thumb. How many people are a no for roll their tongue and a yes for bend their thumb? Only a few people, only 3 out of 40 people. So that's the most unlikely. It's very unlikely you can bend your thumb, but you cannot roll your tongue. It's very likely, the most likely thing is that you can roll your tongue, but you cannot bend your thumb. Is this making sense, guys?
So how'd you get 310?
Oh, because they said that if 7 out of 10 people can roll their tongues, then that must mean that 3 out of 10 people cannot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Just like up here, if 1 out of every 4 people can bend their thumb, the other 3 out of 4 cannot. All right, so yeah, they didn't tell me 3/10, but I know if 7 out of every 10 people can, that means 3 out of every 10 people cannot. All right. And then, so it says the areas of the regions represent the relative probabilities for different outcomes. And even though I didn't measure this, 1/4 and 3/4 and 3/10 and 7/10, it gives us a very good idea just by the size of these. This is the smallest block, so that's the smallest probability. This is the biggest block, it's the biggest probability. So people like this is called an area model, and people like them because it gives you a good way to just look at it and have some sense for what's most likely and what's least likely. All right, and we already did this stuff. We already answered part B. If there's a width of 1/4 and a height of 7/10, we just multiply them. 1/4 times 7/10, and we get 7 out of 40. So it's really 1/4 times 7/10, and the answer was 7 out of 40. That's the area of these. And what does this area mean in terms of these two traits? It means 7 out of every 40 people can do both. Can roll their tongues and bend their thumbs. All right. What's the probability that a randomly selected person can roll his or her tongue but cannot bend his or her thumb? Let's just make sure we're reading this correctly. Who can tell me can roll tongue, cannot bend thumb. Which one of these four numbers, four fractions, represents that? Can roll the tongue, cannot bend.
21 out of 40.
Which one?
21 out of 40.
21 out of 40. Very good. Can roll the tongue. So I'm in this row. Cannot bend their thumb. I'm in this row. That's 21 out of 40. Very good. All right, so 21. All right, and we got that from 7 out of 10 times 3 out of 4. Okay, so this is really just, I wanted to get you started on this type of idea today. Tomorrow, we're going to do, continue on with this same type of idea, and I'm going to have you guys try a couple of problems. For tonight, I have a video. Some of you guys have, I know Anastasia's seen Edpuzzle before, but I put a video on Edpuzzle, and it's just on very basic ideas and probability. So I believe it's a 7-minute video, and it stops you at certain times and makes you answer some questions. That's your homework, and if you would like to get started on it now, you're welcome to jump out and start on it now. You should be able to finish before class is over, and then you won't have any homework hanging over your head.
So what's the homework again?
Well, let me show you where to find it. You're going to go to our Google Classroom page. Just right under classwork, look under this week, and it's called Thursday Homework Probability Video. And you click on it, click on this, and watch the video, and it'll make you answer some questions. Okay?
Oh, the questions are in the video?
They're
or?
in the video, yeah. So the video
Oh,
will,
is it like puzzles?
yeah, the video will freeze, and then you just
Oh, I get it.
type in your answer, and you can push the video back if you forgot the answer. But I put it like right after the guy says the answer, so you should be able to.
All right, thank you.
No problem. All right.
Okay, mister.
You guys can go ahead and do that and have a good day. If you would like to stay and talk about anything, you can stay. I will keep the Zoom open the whole time. If you leave and you want to come back, you can do that. But that's what I wanted to cover for today.
Do you have anything to do right now?
You can just go get your homework done if you want.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thanks.
I'm sorry, you're gonna post the video?
It's already there. Go. Oh, for what we just did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. It's still recording. Let me stop that, and I will upload it to YouTube right now. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
We'll call it October 29th. Probability area models.